Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me, and you think I'm gonna be nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence, and ain't nobody threatening you. And I ain't trying to go back and forth with no woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't got no time for no motherfucker. My life is at right now. I don't have no time for no games, baby girl. Me and you can be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever, then after that you better get on your job.
But let me explain. So Daphne Joy, the mother of 50 Cent's son Sire, was recently spotted hanging out with Diddy.
Oh.
That man is a timeshare.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, 50 dropped a pic with Sire and used it to troll Daphne. Now he said, that's your mommy over there with Puffy, LOL. Remember what I told you the other day? Be crazy, shaking my head.
Oh, that was good. Well, Daphne did reply and she said, please stop doing this to me. I never bother you and I am an outstanding mother to our son. Ooh. Can we please just focus on that, please?
And these all-star freak-offs, bruh. Now, mentally, I know she's a victim too. You understand? With the drugs, with the stuff, but you know, when you hear her testimony, it's like she was in love and still in love with dude. Even though she was doing that she didn't want to do.
It looks like the storm surrounding Diddy just keeps growing. And this time, 50 Cent is back doing what he does best, clowning his longtime rival and in full public view. But things have taken a new twist. This time, it's not just 50 Cent throwing shade. His own baby mama has stepped into the courtroom and unleashed claims that shocked just about everybody. And 50, he's turning this whole thing into a performance, rocking free Diddy shirts while also trolling the man behind the scenes. So what's really going on? Why are these women suddenly exposing everything? And why does it feel like 50 is the only one who's never been afraid to call Diddy out? Stick around. We're diving deep into how Diddy's empire is crumbling from the inside, what Daphne Joy's courtroom bombshell really means, and how 50 Cent once again positioned himself as the last man standing when everyone else kept quiet. Let's start with Daphne Joy, the model and influencer who once shared a son with 50 Cent. In a courtroom statement that's now gone viral, she described a disturbing chapter in her relationship with Diddy. The details are difficult, but the takeaway is clear. She felt pressured to completely give herself over to Diddy's world. And that world, from the way she described it, involved actions and behavior that no one should have to endure just to maintain a relationship or protect their place. Without saying it explicitly, her testimony painted a picture of control, manipulation, and emotional breakdown. Allegedly, she went along with requests that should have never been made. And now that she's opened up, she's no longer the only one coming forward. Her voice joined a chorus of others who've decided to tell the truth about what was happening behind the scenes.
I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence. And ain't nobody threatening you, and I ain't trying to go back and forth with no woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't got no time for no where my life is at right now. I don't have no time for no games, baby girl. Me and you can be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever, then after that you better get on your job. That's really, that's all it is. Cause you got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. So either you go in the direction of like moving on and that, or you like just like have me just keep moving. Ain't no threat. I'm just being clear. I can't do this every time you get upset.
I gotta ask you. We can't say her name or the rapper name, but I gotta ask you about this woman that testified against Puffy and her baby daddy is a rapper.
Man, I was there for the testimony, so I gotta know about it. But the whole thing about it is, brother, I give somebody a $50 to tell me who that person is. You get it? I give somebody a $50 if they tell me who that person is she was talking about, that her boyfriend is a millionaire and a musician in the whole 9 yards. I wish I knew who that was. But if I was the baby, if I was the baby daddy and I had half the sense of $1, I wouldn't have never ever let my son kiss her ever again. Some of the stuff that she was doing in these all-star freak-offs, bro. Now, mentally, I know she's a victim too. You understand? With the drugs, with the stuff, but you know, when you hear her testimony, it's like she was in love and still in love with dude. Even though she was doing that she didn't want to do. She was talking about how sick she was. How he wouldn't allow her to use condoms. Yo, it was crazy. Now, people gotta understand, because I hear a lot of people on the internet talking about like her baby father, like he was mad and upset or something like that. He already knew about all this stuff. He knew about this stuff because he was on stage talking about it way before she testified, way before Diddy got locked up for it. Talk about, yeah, you got a baby mama that's out here doing freak-offs. He knew about the stuff. But people can't understand, people gotta understand, these guys give these girls enough money to do something. Just say, for instance, if old boy was giving her $5,000 or $7,000 a month, you take $2,000 of that and get you in a nice place to live, a nice house somewhere. You understand? You take another $500 and put down on a car that you could drive to work and go back and forth. It don't take $1,000 a month to feed nobody. You understand? To feed nobody. It don't take another $1,000 to clothe somebody, because you ain't gonna buy clothes every month for a kid. And you know his father still is gonna be taken care of, because he was with his father a whole lot of times too. These girls wanted money so they don't have to do nothing. But the baby daddy was giving her enough money for she could do something, but she wanted that extra freak off money. She had to want it, bruh. Because why would you stoop so low to bring yourself down like that? She had an option. Her friend was making, she was talking about her friends was making a couple of $1 million doing, what's that other stuff on internet where?
OnlyFans?
The OnlyFans, yeah, thank you. Her friends was doing OnlyFans, making $2 million. She could have did OnlyFans and made hundreds of thousands of dollars. She chose not to do that.
Enter 50 Cent, hip-hop's loudest troll and probably the most fearless critic Diddy has ever had. When Daphne's claims hit the news, 50 wasted no time. He posted photos in a Free Diddy t-shirt dripping in sarcasm. Then he added social media posts clowning the courtroom drama, referencing old confrontations and mocking Diddy's alleged love for theatrics. "I don't feel safe," he joked in one post, pretending to be scared of Diddy, who, according to past testimony, once said he liked guns.
50 Cent in love. Now, what Fifth was doing was taking care of Daphne Joy, who he had a baby with and was dating for years. His son was private. They kept everything off the table. And 9 months after she has the boy, all hell breaks loose. The police is called. You see a door broken down. Daphne Joy, who's at this time was in a relationship with Mr. 50 Cent, was having the door kicked in. Not only did they kick the door in, but they ransacked the place. The chandeliers broke, the cabinet was broke. All this furniture sound very familiar to another case we heard about, like that's going on right now. It's very similar to that situation. And she reportedly said that Mr. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, kicked her, and everybody was stunned to hear the shocking details. Like, oh my God, 50 is kicking people. So all of a sudden, this has become the news. And 50 Cent had to eventually settle with her. He was paying her $1,000. The argument was about money. It's always about money. She was going off because 50 Cent's other baby mother, Sharita, was getting $6,000 something a month for child support, and she was only getting like $1,000 and something for child support. And she didn't think it was fair. She needed more money. Man, does this sound like a familiar scenario? So to prevent jail time for 50 Cent, he had to do 3 years of probation. He had to do some community service. And right around this time, you know, he had to file for bankruptcy because the Rick Ross thing, he had to settle with her. So 50 Cent was able to buy himself out of bankruptcy. Said he was worth only about $4 million at the time.
50 Cent is reacting to his ex-girlfriend and baby mama Daphne Joy being named in the Diddy lawsuit. In case you're unaware, Daphne was named as one of Diddy's workers. And by worker, I mean a very specific type of worker that I cannot state on this app because this video will get taken down. I'm sure you can do the math. In response, 50 posted this picture of himself smoking a cigar. In the caption, he says, "I didn't know you was a blank worker, you little blank worker, LOL. Yo, this is a movie." 50 also shared a screenshot of a news report from Fox that you can pause to read, detailing alleged activity that was going on during Diddy's freak-off parties. In the caption, 50 says, "Shaking my head, this is gonna be so good. What do you want to bet that I'm gonna get these tapes? I'll pay top dollar for them. You've been over there. I don't go to puffy parties." It's no secret, 50 Cent has been waiting for the downfall of Diddy.
What's wild is how consistent 50's been with his attacks, while most in the industry have stayed silent, either out of fear or out of respect. 50's been calling Diddy out for almost 2 decades, from diss tracks to interviews he's never let up. And now, with court proceedings underway and women coming forward, it looks like the world is catching up to what 50's been saying all along. The tension between 50 Cent and Diddy goes way back. We're talking 2006, when 50 dropped a track called The Bomb. He not only dissed Diddy, but hinted at some dangerous secrets related to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. He didn't hold back then, and he's certainly not doing it now.
Get your hand out my pocket, man. Get your hand out my pocket. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing on the channel. Get your hand out my pocket, man. Look at me when I'm talking to you. I see, yo. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, man. I see what you're doing. Nah, look at me, man. I see what you're doing, man. Yeah, you gonna make me. Okay, I'm telling y'all right now. On I Want to Work with Diddy, I'm gonna physically put my hands on somebody for the ratings because he's not going to outdo me. I'm going to physically. I'm going to go to Central Booking. Yeah. I'm used to it. I know what it is. But you get your hand on my pocket. Get off my channel, boy. This is what I got to do it, right? And these are my friends.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said.
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow.
I don't want him going to those
What's up with the hugging pictures at the white party though? What is that?
I don't know, bro.
Every picture is a little bit.
Why is everyone so happy to be there? I'm like, this is regular parties. People don't just hug each other.
You had
like,
to sit in
like,
4 hours of traffic
like
to
5
drive
minutes.
in
Come on,
the
let's have a group hug. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, hug. I'm going to shake your hand. Hey, what's up, man? Everything good? Yeah.
It does feel controlled. Yo, hold on, baby. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, it was too much fun.
That's crazy.
It was a little too much fun.
That's just white boy. The white party.
Yeah.
It is the whitest party.
I was too happy to have him there. Too happy to have him there. And baby,
what is going on in the one on the right? That is insanity.
Dude, that's just
both of them. He looks like he's unzipping his pants. Look at the one on the left.
Come on. No, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Do you call him? Will you call him and be like, yo, listen, you're brilliantly talented.
No, I wait till I see them, but I go to them.
And you go chill with them.
I go to them and I go, yo, come here. I'm like, what happened? I asked him because I like, you know, I'm a fan of the new artists. So I watch him and I'm like, yo, he got the it factor. Like he got that thing, little baby. I like him.
You're one of the first persons in entertainment to really call out people and kind of have that authority in that, to be able to call people out. I mean, which is pretty amazing. You're kind of, in some ways, draining the swamp of Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't have a support system. I don't have a support system of a peer group of artists that I require to do what I'm doing. I've had to be on my own from the beginning. So I don't necessarily have a responsibility to behave a certain way according to them. You know, and look, if I didn't have an award-winning director doing it, if I hadn't put the right people in place to produce it properly, I wouldn't understand why they would question or doubt anything that I'm doing. But you go to the 90s, and Keefe D said he paid him to kill Tupac.
It was 50's follow-up behavior that kept the feud alive. He went after Diddy's business moves, accused him of being shady behind the scenes, and even mocked his age and wardrobe. While most people would have backed down after facing the kind of threats Diddy was rumored to make, 50 leaned in harder. Why? Because 50's position was different. He didn't need Diddy's approval, he didn't rely on his connections, and most of all, he wasn't afraid. Fast forward to today, and Diddy's facing a much bigger battle than just 50's online trolling. Multiple lawsuits, federal investigations, raids on his homes, allegations of serious misconduct, some of which date back years, and some of which involve people very close to him.
This was a phone call. This came up in court. This is the transcript of a conversation between Diddy and Jane 3 days after Cassie filed her lawsuit. And just listen to the tone of what he was saying. He says, talking to Jane, hey, I really need your friendship right now. And that's it. I can't even talk on the phone. Like, please don't send no texts or do nothing. People misread it and blank. I don't know what the blank. And he added, my love is definitely true. You know what I'm saying? We just into some kinky blank that I thought we both, you know, enjoy. And Jane only responds with a And the reason she's so hesitant, she's read the entire lawsuit and is definitely feeling some sort of way about this, knowing she's been in a relationship with him this whole time as well. And this is what she eventually says to him. I've been crying for like 3 days. I can't even sleep. Like, just reading all that, it's just so like word for word. Like, word for word is crazy to me. Like, it just feels sick in my soul, you know? So he's concerned that she's gonna talk to talk to a lawyer, right, or even worse, law enforcement. And she is just like, what is, now she's seeing this other side of the mirror. Like, she knew about Cassie, obviously, right, but didn't realize what had happened.
Pattern and
right, yeah, didn't realize the violence that was going on, that had gone on in that relationship. So for her, this was really shocking. Remember, she had been through a violent incident with him where he was chasing her, and she testified about him kicking in a door and chasing her. So for Jane, this was clearly a moment where she was going, what are we doing? And she testified they went on a break after that.
And interesting, his first instinct is basically like, don't say anything.
Right. Everyone's got to be quiet.
And so this whole time, Jane has been testifying that she kind of felt like the secret, that he wanted to hide her and just have these hotel nights with her and didn't get the same treatment that these other more public girlfriends were getting. But she said today that, after the Cassie lawsuit, he started acting way more loving, way more affectionate, and that their relationship actually began to grow. So I think it's just super obvious here what Diddy was trying to do and kind of lay the groundwork for, oh no, I'm in this healthy, committed relationship and we're good, right?
Yet they did go on a bit of a break, right? From December until her birthday in February of
Correct.
24.
And then they reconciled in February, yeah, correct.
So she is still on the stand today, Janet, and still under cross-examination. What's the latest that she's been testifying about?
So today she testified, they started with an event that happened in January of 2024. And actually this morning, the prosecutors, the defense, and Jane's attorney were in the roving room for over an hour before court even began. And they were arguing about whether or not the people involved in this January 2024 Vegas trip should be named publicly or not. And this involves Jane's previous testimony about an unnamed rapper and his partner, and that she went to Vegas with this group of people, including the rapper, and that she walked into the hotel room and one of the escorts that her Diddy had used previously was there having sex with a woman, and everyone was watching. So Jane testified about that and said that this is an icon in the music industry, someone that was close with Diddy. But yeah, there's a lot of back and forth today about whether or not those people should be named publicly.
Right, and as of this point, they've said they're not going to name them, but certainly you have her on the stand saying there's an icon in the music industry.
Do we have any guesses?
Well, we're not going to do that.
Even surveillance footage from 2016 resurfaced, showing violent behavior that made everyone look twice. And while many artists are staying quiet, trying not to get dragged into the storm, 50 is all in. He's producing a Netflix series based on these events. He's posting updates like a journalist with a sense of humor. But make no mistake, behind the laughs, there's real intent. 50 wants the truth to come out, and he's using every tool he has to make sure people keep paying attention.
Several aspects of the Jane story right now are very interesting to me. She does, or let's say Tenny Garagos, give her credit, does seem to elicit Jane numerous times saying she liked it or she accepted it or she was okay with it. There was a story about a very gracious birthday party, a very generous birthday party for her. And she said, after that, I felt like doing it for him to give him something in return. Now, she has already noted that she knew what her responsibilities were within the relationship. And as we've noted in this segment already, the government is hot on the notion that Diddy was feeding her and others messages, knowing that he would be in this situation later. So the love bombing that happens after the Cassie lawsuit drops should perhaps be reconsidered as like that isn't, they didn't actually enter into a healthy relationship. He was just performing that in hopes that later it would be believed that they were in one. But she does say that we were in the lifestyle, that others may have even thought that we were in the lifestyle. And that is something the defense and perhaps the jury can cling to as saying, wait a minute, how can we say it's coercion when you're like, hey, we're swingers, we're in the lifestyle? Yeah. Right, and it wasn't exactly a secret that Diddy was into some maybe freaky stuff, even for the general public, that wasn't exactly a total secret.
It was one of those, things that people sort of buzzed about, but now we're hearing all the details in this case.
But the buzzing today, Charles, is who is that other rapper, right? And as far as a legal matter, it doesn't matter. But in the internet streets, we want to know who is that other rapper, who is married, who is an icon, who would have a wife, who would be willing to do this sort of stuff. I don't know. I think it's somebody who's been on your show.
But not everyone is watching quietly. Diddy's son, Christian Combs, also known as King Combs, recently dropped a track defending his father and calling out critics like 50 Cent. In his lyrics, he questions why 50's name keeps coming up and defends his father's legacy. It's a bold move for a son watching his family get torn apart in the headlines. 50, of course, responded in classic 50 fashion with mock concern and jokes. He posted, "I feel so threatened," in what might be one of his most sarcastic replies yet. The back and forth continues, but what's clear is this. Even as the courtroom heats up and the public conversation turns darker, 50 refuses to step back. Here's the real question. Why has 50 Cent always been so bold about Diddy when so many others stayed silent? The answer may lie in 50's background. He came up in one of the toughest parts of Queens. He survived being shot 9 times, and by the time he entered the music industry, he had already learned how to handle pressure. He built his brand on fearlessness, whether it was going against Ja Rule, beefing with Rick Ross, or mocking the biggest names in business. Unlike many artists who came up under the influence of Diddy's label or events, 50 didn't owe him anything. He didn't party with him. He didn't rely on him for career advancement. That independence gave him the freedom to say what others couldn't.
Daphne Joy has accused her ex-boyfriend, 50 Cent, of R-word, putting his hands on her, and of being an absent father to their 11-year-old son, Sire. Joy made the claims in a statement she posted on Instagram on Thursday, but the rapper has denied her accusations in a statement. The serious claim was dropped mere days after 50 Cent publicly mocked rival Sean Diddy Combs following the double raid on his estates, which occurred in the context of a trafficking investigation into the mogul. Fueling 50 Cent's anger was likely the revelation that Joy was identified as an ex-worker, mentioned in the bombshell lawsuit filed against Diddy by an ex-employee. Joy has adamantly denied the accusation, calling it character assassination. Joy dropped the R-word claim amid news that 50 Cent is seeking sole custody of their preteen son.
Just said yesterday on one of my videos, I said 50 Cent is trying to get full custody of his son, Sire. However, he took that off of the table without prejudice though, which means he can always refile it. He took it off the table once Daphne Joy removed the post about 50 Cent ing her. He took it off the table. But of course, here we go with petty quarter water. He's all over the Instagram, and what is he doing? He is presenting another show. Because he just posted on Instagram and he's saying XYZ, Black Young Star, whatever, is representing me in court today. Any further questions, refer to my legal team. Child, are you kidding me right now, sir? The way that you and Daphne Joy are emotionally abusing this child is almost scary. I can't confirm that that's the reason why he's going to court, but I mean, it just makes common sense. Daphne Joy just said everything that she said, allegedly, Daphne Joy, if she is Jane Doe, just said on the stand and said everything, poured her heart out regarding her and Sean Diddy Combs and their relationship. She mentioned a lot regarding the FOs, and now here we go. 50 Cent was trying to say she was a little worker in the first place. Now he has confirmation that she's a little worker in his eyes, and now he's going to try to take this baby.
Before all the courtroom chaos and public call-outs, Diddy and Daphne Joy actually shared a bond that many thought was strong, at least on the surface. When they were first seen together, people were surprised. Daphne, already known for being 50 Cent's ex and the mother of his son, suddenly became part of Diddy's inner circle. From lavish vacations to red carpet events, Diddy didn't hide her. He showed her off like a prized jewel. And for a while, it looked like she had stepped into a new level of lifestyle. But behind the glam, their relationship was reportedly full of control, tension, and constant fighting. Insiders claimed that Diddy would fly her out on a whim, then isolate her from others once she arrived. There were reports that he wanted her to fully submit to his rules, cutting off old friendships, and even changing how she dressed. At first, she complied, maybe out of love, or maybe out of fear of losing the luxury. But eventually, that bond started to crack. Arguments became frequent. Sometimes it was over her communication with 50 Cent. Other times, it was reportedly about her independence. Daphne wasn't just a pretty face. She was building her own brand. And as her star started to rise, Diddy allegedly felt the need to tighten his grip. Their breakup wasn't a clean split either. It came with drama, rumors, and plenty of behind-the-scenes fallout that's only now coming to light in court.
Now, here's the thing. Daphne Joy has been denying that she was ever a woman receiving a monthly stipend in exchange to be Diddy's little egg worker. And she has pretty much lived with that until today, where she was forced to come to court and testify under oath. And all the lies that she's been telling about how she's never done that is not true. She got respect for herself. That went out the window during this testimony, bro. She spilled the beans. And she confessed to everything that she was being accused of. The only thing that I was surprised about while listening to her testify was, yo, how cheap a lot of these famous chicks are. You be thinking these famous chicks got money? No, they are broke. And she's an example of this.
Jane Doe has officially taken the stand. She's victim number 2. She will be on the stand for several days, and a lot of her testimony sounds very similar to Cassie's. First met Diddy in 2020 on a girls' trip to Miami, and at the time, he was dating her friend, but he was still flirting with her and offered her his number. Two began texting and were calling each other nicknames. She would call him Ernie, and he would call her Bert. The day after meeting her, he texted her saying he wanted to take her out, but she texted him back saying it felt complicated. At the time of meeting Diddy, she was living on the East Coast and said that he was pursuing her, and when her friend got engaged to someone else, she decided to give it a go.
Her testimony really showcased how these women ain't victims, bro. They're not. Like, they knew what they were signing up for, and they were going along with it for the bag. She went on a girls' trip with her homegirl who was dating Diddy at the time. And you know what she did on that trip, bro? She got Diddy's number. Began to talk to Diddy behind the homegirl's back, pretending like, oh, I don't want to do nothing with you until... Cut it out, bro. And the homegirl ain't no better. Apparently, like, after flying out with Diddy, getting bust down, getting her cheeks clapped, getting tossed all type of ways silly, she was married and moved out the country a few months later. Come on, bro. Come on, son. I can almost guarantee, bro, whoever, like, the simp was that married that chick and took her out the country to live, bro, that man was dating that chick while she was getting her cheeks clapped by Diddy. You don't go from being with Diddy to a few months later, you married and out the country already, bro. Cut it out. But Daphne Joy will say that once the friend apparently moved on, her and Diddy began a relationship. And what you will witness during this entire testimony, Daphne Joy is a bum, scrub, brokey, super broke. And she would essentially leech off of Diddy for whatever paper he would give her.
In January of 2021, she said she flew out to Miami to have their first date, and they spent 5 days in a hotel room. Said they had dinner on the balcony, they went all the way, and she let him know that she had a child with someone that he knew. This person did not get along with Diddy, but he said that he didn't mind. During those 5 days, she said they did get dressed up and go out to a restaurant, and she was head over heels. A month later, for her birthday, Diddy took her to Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas for a 15-day luxury trip, and KK was there, as well as a chef, a butler, and at one point even a barber. Diddy gifted her a bracelet that said love, and she told him that she was an influencer and that's how she made money. So because he was taking her away from her work, he wired her $10,000.
These chicks got game, I tell you. You an influencer, bro. You could post from anywhere in the world. You ain't miss a dime going on vacation. As a matter of fact, going on vacation actually helps you because you're able to take better pictures. But the only reason she's testifying is because they want to prove that Diddy was paying her for a monthly stipend to engage in rendezvous with other men. That's the only reason she's testifying, and she testified to that. But it didn't really seem at first that it was a direct transaction until she expressed that she didn't really want to do it anymore. That's when Diddy began to dangle the carrot over her head like, hey, you don't want to do the free calls? Like they call it hotel time. Don't want to do the free calls no more? Well, hey, bro, how you going to pay your rent? Hey, bro, you got to go in 3 months.
She testified that he introduced her to X, Molly, Snow, and Kame, and those were the substances that they would take every time that they would sleep together. She said that part of her life became very intense because every time that would happen, there would be red lighting, corn playing, she would wear dancer shoes, lingerie, and coated in baby oil. It would often last 24 hours, and it first started off making love, but turned into something else.
Now seeing her take the stand and speak out has reshaped the way people view their once glamorous connection. What the public saw was a couple enjoying the high life. But what Daphne described was something much darker. And as the court of public opinion turns its focus on Diddy's past relationships, this one with Daphne Joy might end up being one of the most pivotal in his entire unraveling.
He said that she and Diddy would often talk about his fantasies, and then said in May of 2021 in Miami, after being awake and high for 24 hours, he had brought it up. He suggested making one of the fantasies come true and inviting a man to the hotel, and she got nervous. He said Diddy's assistant started to prep the room, there was red lighting, and a man named Don showed up. He said Diddy and Dawn started talking, and she was sitting on the couch with her robe on, legs crossed, and she was nervous. When Diddy told her to stand up and start dancing to ease her nerves. He said Dawn was only only wearing underwear, and Diddy was making himself happy. And then you know the rest. She and Dawn started doing things, then she and Diddy did things and said it was taboo and thrilling at first, but it opened Pandora's box. Now, Diddy would call these sessions freak-offs with Cassie, but she said with her, it was debauchery or hotel nights.
That wasn't the only difference between her and Cassie. With Cassie's testimony, they're trying to prove Diddy made Cassie do it. He coerced Cassie. He made Cassie do it by force. He would put hands on Cassie. With the Daphne chick, they're not accusing Diddy of forcing this woman to do anything. They're accusing Diddy of making this transactional. She did it the first time because she really liked Diddy. After a while, it turned into a transaction. Well, and that's illegal, right? Like, you can't pay somebody to engage in sex. That's illegal. And one of the charges is transportation to engage in. And that carries a 10-year, I think like a 10-year maximum. So if anything goes wrong, meaning if the prosecutor absolutely blows this case from this point forward, Diddy is gonna get found guilty of at least 2 counts of transportation to engage in Cassie and this woman. And I don't feel like after Cassie's testimony, that can even be disputed. We can dispute whether or not they were forced to do it. I don't think they were forced to do it. I think they did this willingly for the love of money. But Diddy still transported them to engage in rendezvous and paid them monthly stipends, not really Cassie, but Daphne and other women. I believe Diddy paid them monthly stipends to engage in these activities and then threatened to take it away once they expressed they wanted to stop.
And she said after that one time, it happened every time she saw him. And she said these nights were not short. It lasted 20 to 30 hours, involved 24 bottles of baby oil, and always followed the same script: red lights, substances, escorts, and doing it while Diddy was doing his thing. She had told Diddy she didn't want to do this anymore in writing and verbally. He would respond and tell her, "That's fine. If we break up, I'm not paying your rent." Because of that, she felt obligated to continue and said that Diddy was paying her $10,000 a month for rent and gave her cash, wired her up to $20,000 at a time, and told her to stay beautiful, available, and ready at a moment's notice. Whenever Diddy wanted these nights to happen, she said, "I always had childcare ready." Because of this, she said she kept her appearance perfect, rarely saw her friends, and said her social media career dwindled. At one point, she tried to ask Diddy about being on OF because one of her model friends were on there, but he said no. He talked about a time when she went to the south of France in the summer of 2021 and said he was angry in the voice notes that he was sending her. Also talked about the fact that he wanted her to look a certain way during these sessions, saying he wanted her to have straight hair with a ponytail and wanted her to pierce, upstairs. He said they did take a short break in 2023, but it didn't stop the pattern of these nights. He said they got back together in February of 2024, which was after Cassie had filed her lawsuit, and broke up a few months before his arrest. And she told the jury, "It felt like a door I wanted to shut, but I couldn't."
With her specifically, I ain't trying to hear that victim talk, bruh. It's a door I wanted to shut, but couldn't. Cut it out, bruh. I don't want to hear none of that, bruh. None of it. She got with Diddy after Cassie's lawsuit. She got with Diddy after seeing the Cassie video. You were well aware who you was dealing with. This is not somebody who forced you to do anything. No. And even the prosecutors ain't gonna play it like that. But because these women, especially women like Daphne, she understands that the stigma that comes with you, that you agreed to essentially be an egg worker for Diddy, you agreed to get bust down by multiple men. Yo, listen, she probably got with Diddy with like a 50-person body count. By the time she left Diddy, man, she probably had like 200. So you essentially ran up your body count by allegedly 150 people. For $10K a month, cool, I hope it was worth it. But now people is looking at you as recreational use only in perpetuity. Like, the only man who would probably ever love you at this point is Diddy, because I don't feel like I don't see any man who ain't starving.
So here we are, watching the empire of one of hip-hop's most powerful men begin to crack. Women are stepping forward, no longer afraid to share what they've been through. 50 Cent is turning his longtime trolling into full-blown commentary and production, and the world is paying attention. What started as internet beef has turned into something far more serious. The conversations are no longer just about disses and business rivalries. They're about the culture of silence that allowed powerful figures to move unchecked for so long. And now, that silence is breaking. 50 Cent has always played the role of disruptor. But today, his trolling isn't just about jokes, it's about exposing what he believes people need to hear. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that 50's voice has gotten louder, just as Diddy's world has grown quieter. And with everything still unfolding, one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.